I learned acting to teach acting. Like when I'm casting actors, no, I had to tell what specifically I want. That's the only reason I started learning acting.
You mean to be able to direct actors
better. No film is a flawless film.
Yeah.
But I think it's a commercial film in its own, which has its own sensibility. People in Karnataka, they call it Shetty Mafia and, Shetty gang and everything. I say form your gang, brother. Because you want all the name and glory for yourself and you are not able to collaborate with everyone is not our problem.
You call yourself an accidental actor.
Yeah.
How do you act? What's your process?
So every time I play a character, I see what is the end result of it and what would be the psychology of that character.
What are you directing next? I read that it has Dulquer Salmaan in it.
No. I can't direct stars.
No?
Oh no.
Why not?
Because the thing is, I can't wait for their dates. This film will production budget was 4.5. Then that content charge or promotion, this and everything will come. It might cost around when the real in the entirety it might cost around 5.5 to 6.
Raj, welcome to the Hollywood Reporter India.
Thank you.
It is such a pleasure to finally sit with you.
Yeah.
I have been an admirer since your first film.
Thank you.
And I cannot tell you how delighted I am that Sue from So it's such a great film and it's doing so well, which is just wonderful. I'm hearing that the extra shows being added.
Yeah.
Every morning, the houseful signs across Karnataka. Tell me what the last few days have been like.
The first day we released, we had 70 shows in Bangalore. And distributors told me clearly that you shouldn't release on 25th because there were other language, bigger films. I said I'll try this film as a first 1 week it will be a trial for me, and I think that the release date will be first. So in that case, you need to give me shows because that's the only way I can actually ask people to come. Few people will watch and then they will spread the word. That's what my idea was. But it spread so fast that first day it was 70 shows and the second day it came around 180. Third day it was 340 shows. And third day, Sunday, they are opening 6 o'clock shows because they cannot accommodate anymore. They want these shows, but there are other films as well. So now, this is the big film in Bangalore.
Sue from So is the biggest film.
I'm so glad that it can only happen in films actually, but it is happening to a film is a happier thing.
Yeah. It's amazing to me that your marketing strategy was no marketing.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You did these paid previews in Mysuru and Bengaluru and little small. And you said I read somewhere that you actually said to the audience that we're not going to go around promoting this film. We're not going to do any YouTube shows.
Yeah.
You are going to be the honest promoters of our film.
Yeah.
And you do that. Your first day is houseful, which is the best outcome of this risk that you took.
Yeah.
But did you have any fear? Did you worry at all? Ki, yaar, what if no one shows up?
Yeah, I always ask my friend, do you think, in Mangalore they have given 76 shows. It's a small city. And I'm like, do you think, I think they have, a miscalculation. People won't fill it up. Then I see, it's all houseful. But the first day, my idea was, this is the first interview I'm sitting for that film or after that film. I have never sat in an interview or anything because I really felt the way we talk or the content that we talk, people felt it's very fake. We always see everybody who writes a 120-page script thinks that it's great. Otherwise, he won't write. And somebody who is investing the money, he thinks it's great. That's the reason, he produces it. Then you sitting in an interview and telling it's great is, it doesn't make sense. Because you're producing itself is a proof that you think it's great.
Yeah. So you're convinced.
Yeah, I'm convinced.
Yeah.
So now my idea was anyhow I need to put it before the people. So why can't I put it before 4 days? Which is a high risk in terms of cinema because they think then what if something wrong happens? But I always think what if something great happens? So I believe in this content. We polished as much as possible. I don't consider this as a flawless film. No film is a flawless film.
Yeah.
But I think it's a commercial film in its own, which has its own sensibility. That is something which we need in Karnataka right now. We need cinemas which will pull people to the theater. I think this is one of the film, and I didn't had that idea that people won't turn to the theatre or nothing like that. I really thought they might take time, but this is something like, on a Monday, it sold 1 lakh tickets in only booking. I'm like, that's too big for Kannada market, but yeah.
And you've already got an offer for a Hindi remake?
Yeah, we got a remake offer as well. I'm very curious, like, how will they make a film? It's always a learning because it's set up in a Dakshina.
It's so rooted.
It's so rooted.
Yeah.
We always do cinemas which are rooted because that's the only way we have seen the world. Like, that's where we have lived all our life, and that's we find it very beautiful, and fortunately people found it beautiful too.
Yeah.
And when somebody remakes it, I'm very curious, like, it's a big learning lesson, like, we make the film, but actually even the maker cannot actually point where the soul is. After the film gets completed, we find a soul in it, like, so will they recognize that soul, or will they add something which they consider it as the soul of the film?
Yeah.
So that's very curious, and it's always a learning process and they pay for that learning process. I think that's where we are glad.
Yes. So, Raj, where did this idea of a ghost called Sulochana from Someshwara, shortened to Sue from So, which itself is just incredible. What a great title. Where did this idea come from?
That Sue from So idea was mine. Like, what happened was JP Thuminad
He's a theatre actor.
He's a theatre artist and he's a theatre director. And he always used to narrate stories to people, not the story. Like, some stories of his village, he's a fantastic narrator. And it's before, like, 6 or 7 years, I told him, like, do you want to waste your life telling the stories, or do you want to make stories, or, like, write stories? And he couldn't understand. I said, like, do you want to direct something? Because you have good narration style. The way you narrate, there is a narration there. Do you want to do that? And he said, yes. Then, like, I found a book, which was a great book by a Kannada writer called Jogi, Ellaru Maduvudu Hottegagi, which was about obesity. And I said, like, can you read this book and turn it into a screenplay? And he was happy and he was reading it. And suddenly, like, one of my friend, he said, like, he is actually making a film inspired by that. Now I had to break this news to a young man who is trying to write film for last 3 months, and called him and told, like, brother, this happened. I'm so sorry. What can be done? And he was so broken, and he kept the phone. But I couldn't stop thinking about him. Like, I know how hard it is. So then I called him in the evening and asked, like, what do you think, like, what are the interesting characters that you have seen in life? Then he started speaking about Ravi Anna, who is a similar kind of a character in his village. And then I started telling, the people that I have seen, or the scene that I have seen. Then, like, he found a story out of it because he was living with it. I pitched the ideas, and he had more ideas. And that's when, like, the idea of a ghost, coming, and that having a name of, because of Comedy of Errors, the name comes to Sue from So. It is Sulochana from Someshwara. Yeah. Because it has, like, I always want people to, like, what is that? Like, what is the name? I want people to ask that. Like, when they find a story in that name, then it's a beautiful title, is what I think.
Yeah. So, Raj, you had said in an interview that some films are made to touch the world.
Correct.
Some films are made to escape the world.
Correct.
Now, my thesis would be that actually Sue from So does both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's entertaining.
Correct.
It's like I was laughing out loudly.
Correct.
And yet it says something that's meaningful, that's moving. And the way you do it, the way JP did it in this film, it's a very delicate act. Right? It can go wrong.
Absolutely.
And the first hour, it's a little sort of exaggerated.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
There's a little absurdity. We're meeting all these characters. What were the conversations that the two of you had about the tonality? Like, how do you switch from that to something that's actually tragic?
Yeah, it's very tragic. The thing is, unfortunately, they both live in the same world.
Yeah.
In every village, you see a woman, like, who's not been attended, who's not been cared, and nobody speaks to her because she's not glamorous. She's not, like, but in the same village, there will be characters like these as well. Like, unfortunately, both are realities. Like, even this exaggerated quality and the realistic characters. See, the idea that a man who does this needs to solve this is it's actually putting a mirror into his face. Brother, this is your face. I think he's not slapping the man he wants to slap. He's slapping himself.
Yeah.
Like, the tonality of it, JP is is a very good director in theatre as well. Like, in Mangalore, we have a popular culture of comedy dramas. So the comedy punches, the tone of it, he knows it very, very well. And fortunately, we cast the right actors.
They're amazing actors.
Yeah. With Banu, she exactly knows what to and how much to do. And even with JP, he's very good with actors. Like with tonality and all, I don't think like, I have mentioned that like this should be in this way. I didn't do that because JP was very good with that. But what we did was everything we supervised because JP is a first-time director who is actually handling this bigger, crew, so many actors and everything. So the associate directors were experienced. The cinematographer was a very good cinematographer, and my cinematographer, who is Praveen Shriyan and my partner in Lighter Buddha Films, he was actually not doing cinematography, but he was in set, seeing everything goes. And every single day, like, I used to get footage so that we make sure that we are doing the same thing, same film that we want to do. So that's how we supervised everything. But JP is super talented. I don't think like, we had to discuss tonality and all. He was, yeah.
How did you cast this film? Because like you said, it's like a massive cast, right? It's all these village people and right down to that old man who sits in front of the shop and he can't see.
I love that character.
I love that man. I just thought he was fantastic. And he keeps messing things up because he won't see and he can't see, right? But they're all perfect. You know, Ravi Anna, Chandra Anna, like all these characters who are very specific in who they are and what they do. I read that JP was looking at a lot of theatre actors. What was the process of casting?
See, it's not even casting, it's a team actually. Every actors that you see, most of the actors that you see, they are all one drama team. JP and Satish Anna and Chandranna and they are all from the same team. So they know exactly what is the tone. Bava.
They are all part of a troupe.
Yeah, a troupe. So he exactly knows what
Bava was fantastic.
Oh yeah. Every family has one kind of a Bava. Even the metropolitan cities has Bava of its own kind, I think. Yeah. Yes. So they are from the same team. So JP knew exactly what are their abilities and how well they are. And they also have been directed by JP in dramas. So that's the reason they knew what JP would expect and everything. That's the reason casting was an easy process. The only casting I was absolutely like, this is the person that I want was Banu. I was like, JP was wanting somebody who is a localite because of the accent. I said, no, accent I will take care of. But I want a performer because that woman has such a silence and, such storm inside her. Only Sandhya Arekare could do that. Like, that's the reason, like, even though she was not localite, I was like, no, she was.
She's really good.
Yeah.
And she articulates without saying anything. You look at her face and you can see the tragedy inside. She did such a great job. And of course, there's you as the great fraud Guruji, which was just fantastic. Raj, you call yourself an accidental actor, right? You said you became an actor with the first film because you had to. How do you then do it so damn well that in, Garuda Gamana, we believe that you're this crazy, murderous man, and here you're this goofy Guruji. How do you act? What's your process?
Every character, for that matter, I think it's very different, and we need to think a lot about a character when we perform. I think that is where, like, I enjoy the process of acting, to become another person. When I'm becoming this person, my idea was very simple. I need to overdo it because he himself doesn't believe that he's the one. He has thought like, I have got a project which I can handle, but it becomes a project he can't handle.
Right.
That is when he becomes real, actually.
Yeah.
That is when he becomes vulnerable, scared, and like, everything. But when he comes there, he's a person, like, according to him, like, people view him as a great Guruji. So he wants to play that character. So every time I play a character, I see what is the end result of it and what would be the psychology of that character. But this character in special, it was more caricaturish, if you ask me, in the beginning of the film.
In the beginning, yeah.
Only if I do that caricaturish thing, when he actually becomes vulnerable, the contrast will be the funniest thing. So that was the idea of it. I don't think like, I act because I enjoy that too. I learned acting to teach acting. Like when I'm casting actors, I had to tell like, what specifically I want. That's the only reason I started learning acting. But
you mean to be able to direct actors
better.
Wow.
For example, what happens is, see, if I might tell like, whatever the poster that you are setting is telling, it's suggesting something. But I need to tell what are the other postures that might help you as well. If I know that, then the direction will be very easy. That's the reason why I started reading acting books, like, started doing acting exercises. And in one small institute, I started working as an acting teacher, even though when I didn't know acting. So that helped me. And when I do this, every time a character comes, I don't know. It's a project to me. So how do I do that project? I don't know anything. I think about that character, like, I assemble everything, and then like, some result come. And then I remove it, and when I play the other character, I need to think again. I think that's the process. That's all.
But do you need to rehearse a lot, or are you instinctive? You just get in?
No, I'm mostly instinctive. I don't rehearse, especially if it's an intense scene and all. For example, there is a running shot of mine. Everybody said, like, how did you run? I said, like, the only thing I knew was I would run for my life. That's my comedy. Like, I would run for my life. Still, he tells, like, stop. The moment is like, he'll be looking around, like, should I come or shouldn't I come? So the fear is adding the comedy of it, because he is the great Guruji that you have seen in the first film. Now he is completely a different person. That's the comedy. I'm not trying to create anything. I'm trying to run as fast as, like, I'm trying to escape there.
Yeah.
I think that was the process. Like, it's mostly instinctive.
Yeah.
It's mostly instinctive. But you need to know the character. Like, he's a great Guruji running the fastest. I think that's the comedy.
My favorite scene was when you're telling Bhanu that just please, support me and somehow fix this, because I've lost my television program. My family is cursing me. I'm in deep trouble myself. I mean, those kind of scenes, how much of it was written in the script? How much was improvised? Like, is this the kind of film that you can just, like, sometimes comedy you make up right there? It's spontaneous. How much of that happened?
I think, like, even if we are improvising, we'll ask the director. See, I'll tell that, like, if I can do anything for you. If you want, I can take another loan and give you the money so that your mother can go from here. These are the dialogues that, like, we could improvise in a smaller way. But what happens in comedy is, if everything is improvised, overall pace of the film is also affected. So we need to be very careful, like, how much to improvise and how much not to. Because sometimes if you take 7 seconds to give a punch, then it's not a punch anymore. It's a lag.
Correct.
So you need to be very specific when you're doing a comedy, because too much comedy can ruin the comedy.
Yeah.
For example, you need to give space for people to laugh as well. Then if you put a comedy before they finish the laugh, then it's not a comedy anymore. It's a distraction for the first comedy. So you need to know, like, so improvisation is good, but you also know the overall pace of the film. So
it's also a science then.
It's also a science. It's also art, both together.
Yeah.
It's not that, like, you put something right there. Even when you're putting, you will take the permission of the director, like, can I do this? And fortunately, because it was in our control, like, even in the edit, we see that, like, if it doesn't work, for one small punch, we wouldn't waste 13 seconds and everything.
Yeah.
So we would cut that off and we'll give that space, and, like, those kind of ideas we did. Yeah.
Now you're wearing lovely Lighter Buddha Films sweatshirt. Why is it called Lighter Buddha, your production house?
So there was one of my friend. He was always, like, very fidgety, and he wanted a Buddha painting in his office. And my friend was actually, was a painter, and she said, like, I need to paint a Buddha there. I said, no, you are not inserting Buddha. In his fidgety office, there won't be any Buddha. And if you are, drawing a Buddha, then draw something like, some lighter Buddha. Okay. So a Buddha who is not that serious, who is a light version of the same thing. So it was like, he can be playful as well, like, fidgety as well, still can have the balance of that, like, Buddha. So that's the reason, like, lighter Buddha came. So it became Lighter Buddha, everything, yeah.
And how is that the philosophy of the films you make?
I don't think, like, we make the same kind of philosophy. Garuda Gamana is not a Lighter Buddha film.
Not at
like,
all.
Yeah,
my God.
Yeah, it
was scarring.
Yeah. So I think the way we live and the way we make might be
the process.
The process.
Yeah.
That's where, like, the name will. The name shows us, not the films that we make. The team name is Lighter Buddha Films. It's not the cinemas that we make. If we restrict in that way, then like, even I can't make a film like Lighter Buddha. I can't make a film like Swati Muttina Malehaniye, which can be, it's not always about like, bringing people to the theatre. Sometimes it's always also, we need to explore. And we did a film called Rupantara as well. Like my friend did it and we presented it. It's all deeper and like, a little darker films. I love that films as well. So it's people who we want to be this, that's all.
Yeah.
It's not that we are that. We want to be Lighter Buddhas, but yeah, we are fidgety.
Raj, you said that for you, designing a film becomes a sort of a corruption. You said to sort of intellectually design a film. You said, I want to be the conductor between what is in my head and what is on screen. Can you explain that a little more?
When I direct actually, or when I write, see what happens is, your learning can be a corruption. For example, if I know what is blue, the information of blue, when I see a blue color, then I might think that I know what it is. But if I don't have the information about that, maybe I'm more curious and look more deeper. And in that looking, I learn a lot. I think when we write cinema as well, I am a student or I'm a traveler who is actually trying to reach there first. There are people who are watching the film, they are actually the next travelers. So whenever I'm going there, I am as curious and as open as the person who doesn't know that journey. So I keep on looking around, whatever excites me, because I'm in a neutral state, whatever excites me, I note that. I haven't seen that. Okay, this excites me. Okay, I note that. So whatever I have seen, I don't look there at all. For example, like in Garuda Gamana, the build-up of these two characters is such a level that you expect them to fight in the end.
Yeah.
So I said no, I'm not looking there. Then how do you end the film? I don't know. I think I don't know is a process when I write, especially when I direct, that's the process I want to go through. So
I don't know is your preferred state.
Yeah, I don't know is a preferred state. People ask, how does the second half ends? I don't know. I need to look as well. I need to see as well.
Yeah.
But that makes writing and directing more interesting. You don't know. And then you are more excited. You are not anymore trying to make a film that you know how people will perceive. You're trying to make a film that you don't know how it formed. But when it formed, it gave a kick that no other film in the world gave. That's how we create something original, is what I feel.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're sort of second guessing the audience.
It's a second-hand, it's a second-hand expression. I think, somebody explained me what love is, and then I'm trying to write a poem. So that would be the way or else I can fall in love and write a poem. This is much more deeper, or it might have its flaw, but it's much more original. It's not second-hand anymore.
Yeah. As you talked about Garuda Gamana, and that was a film that brought the three Shettys together. There was you and Rishab, and of course Rakshit presented it, right? And this is sort of the trinity of Kannada cinema is the three of you. Tell me, are you sort of bouncing boards for each other? What is the relationship, or is it as and when something comes up?
See, actually, our friendship is because of cinema. When I did Vandu Mottaya Kathe, they saw the film and they related with the film and they called me, and that's when we became friends. And then I thought I really thought I was a filmmaker who doesn't know film, because I'm from Bangalore and we are not exposed to cinema industry. But Rishab and Rakshit, they were living in Bangalore for 15 years and they were into cinema for 15 years. So that's when I thought can I write for you, or can I write for somebody, so that I know how cinema operates and everything. That's when I wrote for Sarakari Hiriya Prathamika Shale. That's where that's when I wrote, and that was the collaboration. And then I wrote for Charlie, and then I partially wrote for Kantara, the opening and everything. So with Garuda Gamana, I completed the film. And it was a lockdown, and the film was ready, and I showed it to Rakshit, and Rakshit called the next morning, and he said can I present this film? I'm like, yeah, if you want to take the responsibility, I'm much more relieved. You can do that. Our relation is because of cinema, but I think the friendship is deeper because all the filmmakers in that group is very honest, is what I see. They passionately love cinema. They want to
do all the greater things in cinema. There is no competition. I don't think there is a competition between all, three of them, like who is first, who is second. That is not there in us. Even today, Rakshit messaged, like, I saw the film, like, I mean, I'm hearing great things about the films. Congratulations. It's because, see, it's very less relation in industry is not non-corrupted. With these people, I can have a non-corrupted relation. And then I can ask as well, like, what do you think? Like, I have this idea. And they will also ask, they will, tell, we are audience for each other. I'm a big Rakshit Shetty fan before I came to cinema. So this is our friendship, yeah.
How lovely. That is so nice because it's rare.
It's very rare. That's people like, in Karnataka, they call it Shetty Mafia and, Shetty gang and everything. I say, like, form your gang, brother. Who is like, who is asking you to roam around, alone? Because you want all the name and glory for yourself and you are not able to collaborate with everyone. It's not our problem.
Yeah.
Form your gang.
That's fantastic. Yeah. What are you directing next? I read that it has Dulquer Salmaan in it.
No. I can't direct stars.
No?
Oh, no.
Why not?
Because the thing is, like, I can't wait for their dates. Like, it's such a painful process for me. Cinema has been very personal to me. The moment it becomes like, we need to wait for somebody, somebody need to assure this, somebody needs to okay this and everything is somewhere like, I feel it's very, I can't operate in that space.
You're shackled.
I feel shackled. Like, I don't mind making small films. I don't mind making films that, like, where new actors act, but I can't act a star film. Or, like, it's my choice as well. Like, I don't want to act. It's not about money, right? Like, for a middle class person from Mangalore, he's doing films is a luxury that, like, I have. I don't want to do big films, star films, and earn money that way. I am very happy. I'm absolutely happy there. Like, even in Lighter Buddha films, we want to produce films for new people. Like, we want to supervise, we want to get the best result, and we want to ensure that, like, young filmmakers has this belief that, okay, if we do good, people will come to theaters. Yeah. So that's the space that we are operating in. I don't think I will ever direct a star film. I don't know.
So what are you making next?
I'm writing a thriller. See, I can't write the same genre again, at least, like, till I finish other genres. So I have directed a gangster film and I also have directed a comedy. Now I want to direct a thriller. So I'm trying to write it, and also there is a web series discussion that's happening. I don't know whether that will be happening or not, but if it happens, I might get engaged in there as well. I have written for it. So these are the two projects that I have. With that, like, I'm trying to produce some more films which has a little sense and, like, still can bring people to theater. That's.
And you're acting in 45?
Yeah, I'm acting in 45.
With Mr. Upendra, Mr. Shivaraj Kumar. That looks massive. Yeah. Tell us about that.
See, in my childhood days, I was a boy from Bhadravati. Bhadravati is a small part of Karnataka where cinema craze is to the highest. So I used to look at their poster and used to get amazed. And even in my wildest of dreams, I never ever thought like I would be working in cinema. So when I acted with Shivaraj Kumar for the first time, the moment he spoke, I thought okay, I'm in theatre. Because that voice is associated with theatre for me. He's telling dialogues, I'm like, okay, should I clap or should I whistle?
Or should I act?
Or what should I do?
It's a
wonderful. It's a good project. And also I'm a big Upendra fan. The way he directs, the way he, his earlier films and everything. Even his poster, there was a film called as A. I used to stare at that poster for 20 minutes. How did he do that? That's the reason my posters are also very weird. Maybe it's his impression on me. Yeah, acting with them is fun. So I was telling people, after I finished 45, somebody asked me, how was acting with stars? I'm like, did I act with stars? Because they never ever showed any that star aura or anything. So if I would direct a star, that would be Shivaraj Kumar. Yeah,
nice.
that because I don't consider him a star. I think he's a man who's much more bigger than a star. So that's the reason, if I ever would work with a star, that would be Shivaraj Kumar.
And you're not seduced by the idea of the audience that a star gets you?
No.
For you, it's a story that will get the audience.
Yeah. I told you, it's a luxury that I'm doing a film. What if 10 people watch, 1,000 people? I'm doing a film. That is joyful. See, even with Sue from So, what is the biggest joy that I got from this film was in the process, not in the reception. In the reception, I am relieved. Okay, we can do much more, contents. That is where the relief comes from. But if you ask about the joy part, it's about the process. It's about how it forms and everything. And do you think, like, if a star comes to this, the process will have more joy? How? It cannot have. Like, and I think we think that way. If a star comes, it all comes from a deep insecurity. That doesn't mean, like, I'm very secured or anything, but I have other insecurities rather than this. But I think getting associated with somebody who is bigger will make my film a little more bigger is not the idea that I believe in. I believe in that, like, stories are stories. It needs to touch people. It needs to move hearts. Then, yeah, I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy.
When somebody said that you should make Sue from So 2, you said absolutely not.
Not.
Why?
See, why we did this film was because we didn't know how to make this film. The moment we think that we know now, we'll corrupt the second part. We now will create something which worked for the audience. Then the corruption comes. Then again, I told you that that's the second-hand experience that we want to cater. So I'm happy. I'm a writer. So why should I think about a part 2 when that doesn't mean, like, JP can't do it. JP can do it, but I am not associated with it. So if some production house, like, wants to do Sue from So part 2, like, if they take all the necessary permission, then they can do. So, but
it's not something that excites you.
No, not even my team. Nobody will be excited. Nobody will be thinking that, oh, Sue from So, we will make more money. That's fine. We have enough. Like, people are giving enough for this film. Like, what do you want?
What was the budget of this film?
This film production budget was 4.5. Then that content charge or promotion, this and everything will come. It might cost around, like, when the real in the entirety, it might cost around 5.5 to 6.
And
it's a small budget to Bollywood, yeah.
It has already crossed that
correct
in the first 5 days.
Correct.
Which is just incredible.
Incredible. That's the reason, like, I want to make more films which are stronger in content rather than a star film.
Yeah. All three of you, Rishab and Rakshit, are writers, actors, directors, producers. It's incredible to me, the multitasking that you all do. Now, is it a coincidence or is it almost a requirement because you're working on such limited budgets?
Yeah. It was a necessity. So I never wanted to go out and promote my film. I don't like, sitting in front of a media or speaking about my film and everything. I rather enjoy editing or rather enjoy other process of cinema. But when it happens as a necessity, then we don't know what cap we are wearing. Cap is for somebody, like, who recognizes that as a producer job. But for us, it's for this film to get completed and this film to get the desired result that we expect. Then I need to do this. Then I need to, like, write songs. So that, like, one day I wrote song and then I thought, okay, I saved 20,000.
That's right. I forgot to mention you're also a lyricist.
I'm like, even Rakshit is a lyricist. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it becomes a necessity.
Yeah.
But writing is something I enjoy. Absolutely I enjoy. And direction is something, like, I enjoy. And acting is also I enjoy. In good films, I enjoy. And production, I enjoy. So I enjoy the process. But why do I started production is I couldn't find another team which believes in the same ethics that we believe in. That's all. That's the reason I need to, had to produce that. Or else, like, if I had found somebody who believes in the same ethics, like, okay, no part 2, no that, telling another original story, then I would have collaborated and rather, like, would have rested. But yeah.
Raj, what's your sense of where Kannada cinema is right now? There's a lot of conversation about how, you had this blowout sort of situation with, of course, KGF 1 and 2 and then Kantara. And then for the last couple of years, it's not matched that box office high. What is your sense of the landscape?
I was very confused before Sue from So. And now industry is confused. Yeah, like, they are very confused because...
Isn't that great?
It's just absolutely great. Like, see, what happened was, we always thought a great experience is needed in theatre to pull people to theatre.
So like an event.
Yeah, eventful.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, like, Kantara was an eventful movie, but nobody knew it when we were making it. Like, Rishab didn't know that. Rishab called me before 2 days of release of Hindi, Hindi and other language release. And he said, I don't know why they are releasing in other language. They don't even understand the culture. I don't know whether it works. And now, then it became absolutely a blockbuster film. So even he didn't know that is such an eventful film because he was telling a story, and event was a part of the story. That's all. Then everybody wanted to recreate it, or everybody thought only films that like this would work. And fortunately, Su From So breaks it because it is an experience. It's a theater experience because people come there and watch it as a community and laugh. And then I understood, oh, now I understand. They are craving for an experience which is original and authentic and which is which can be,
it's together.
Yeah, it's together.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing they want. It's not about that we want to create an event, like an eventful movie where everything should have an action. This doesn't have a great action. The action in this film is very limited. But the emotion that we try to create in that action is something that has reached people. They want to cheer for an underdog. So that is where I got so many answers from Su From So. We can never ever sit in a studio or sit in a place and we can never ever gauge people and audience is what I feel. People are us. What do you want right now? I want to laugh. I want to enjoy something which is beautiful. Then make it, no? You are people. It's not that I can sit somewhere and think that okay, I know the market has changed, the shift. That is not the true words. It's all very dry words. Finally, when films like Hostel Hudugaru Bekagiddare and this kind of films come, then it will show that, okay, people still want to come to theatre, still want to enjoy. But the thing is, we are not delivering the experience. We are trying to create the second-hand experience. And I want to make a film like KGF, film like Kantara. Then
you can't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't draw them.
Yeah. Coming back to Su From So, the music is so lovely. I don't know obviously I'm a non-Kannada speaker, I don't know the lyrics of the song, but that song where you transition, right, towards the end, where you transition from the sort of the humor to the seriousness, and how beautifully it's used, the way the camera moves, it's, tell me about creating the music, because your music director, Sumedh, is also very untried, right?
Yeah.
So what was the process of creating that?
See, we wanted somebody who was new. The reason we wanted somebody who was new was we wanted somebody who can give time. And he should have talent. But experience is something we were not looking for. Because experience is where we can help him. So that's the reason I was searching for those kind of music directors. That's when I found a reel in Instagram where he had done a song called Daha. And I heard it, and it had a visual idea. When you heard that music, there's a lot of visual that's been you could have imagined that visuals. So that's when I messaged him and told would you be willing to work in a film? And he said yes. And then we met, and then I introduced him to the director. And everybody were and he was, even now, if you ask a file can you send the file urgent? He said I'm in college, I'll go home and send, because he was a 20-year kid now. Okay.
No way.
Yeah, he's a 20-year kid. If you show his photo, then people will be like, oh, this guy did songs is something amazing. But that's what, he added freshness. It's not about his age. The talent that he has, the love that he has to create sound is somewhere we recognized it because of his work.
Yeah.
It's not that we give chance or opportunity. It is that we wanted him to better our film. He bettered our film. And with that, what we did was, that's where the production is so important. So I knew that, this guy might be absolutely talented, but he may not be able to take the work pressure. Cinema is also about date, So that's when, I brought somebody from Kerala. His name is Sandeep Tulsidas. He had worked for this thing, but for the industry, but not as a, independent music director. So he didn't get that credit. That's when I pitched in, do you want to come? And then they both collaborated. So Sandeep took care of the RR, background score.
Yeah.
And Sumedh took care of the music, sounds. So that's when
nice.
We created good sound. Yeah.
And now it's going to be released in Kerala this week?
Yeah, 1st of August.
And is there a plan for a Hindi release?
Hindi release, I don't know. They're considering it, but they want to know how big this film will blow up. So I don't know. I am fine. I'm absolutely happy with Kannada release itself. Malayalam, I'm very curious. I'm how would this film work? Would it work? Wouldn't? I'm very curious. I want to know. So it's releasing in August 1st, and the Telugu there is interest. So there is a lot of producers that have approached. So that's when they reassured us that small cinemas are not anymore small cinemas. It's about good experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, congratulations again, and cannot wait to see where Sue from So goes.
Thank you.
How far she travels.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.